Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking about CQRS, which stands for Command Query Responsibility Segregation. Let's start by seeing what is the general problem in the traditional architecture. Basically, in traditional architecture, we'll be having a data access layer and the data store. The same data model will be used to update and also to query from the data store or from the database. That's simple and it works well for basic CRUD operation. But in more complex application, this approach can become unwieldy. Let's say, for example, on the read side, we'll be having to return a lot of DTOs. Also, we can be making some object mapping. And in the write side, we'll be having some business logic and also some validation, which tends to be more and more complex. So the solution that CQRS stands for is basically separating the command model from the query model. So the command model itself will be updating the data store and the query model will be querying from it. But that's not it. CQRS also goes behind this to a physical isolation. What does this mean? So we'll be having the command model as usual, but we'll be having a write data store that will be updating and another read data store. So basically, we'll be segregating not only the roles or the models, but also the DBs. So we'll be having two databases, one optimized for the write store or optimizes for the writes, and the other one will be optimized for the read. But the thing that we will be having additionally from this, which is the data syncing between the two data stores. And we will having, as always, the query model that will be querying from there. So now let's see together what benefits that CQRS brings to us. Starting with optimized query, since we'll be having some improved query performance, also the ability to create some denormalized views and have efficient data retrieval. Added to that, the security, since we'll be having control access to the write operation and also some enhanced data isolation. Scalability wise, we'll be having some horizontal scaling of read data models, also efficient resource allocation. And last but not least, we'll be having some simple debugging since we'll have a clear separation of concerns and a faster issue detection and resolution. But all of that will come at a cost. We'll be having some challenges, starting with data syncing. Data syncing is the most important part since we really need some real-time data synchronization and also we need to handle potential delays or failure in data replication. Added to that, CQRS will bring more and more complexity since we need to design and maintain separate read and write models and also ensure proper communication between the command and the query sides. Last but not least, we will need to have some consistency to manage eventual consistency and also handling scenarios with high write and read concurrency. So, when to use it? When to use CQRS? So we'll have a different scenario, let's say, starting with collaborative domains. Since CQRS is beneficial in collaborative domain where multiple users access the same data simultaneously. Also, for task-based user interfaces, where the user will be having some complex processes or domain models are involved. Added to that for some performance tuning, since it's ideal when you need to fine-tune data reads and writes separately, especially when read operations significantly outnumber the write operation. Added to that for the team collaboration, we can use it when different development teams can focus on distinct aspects of the application. Let's say, for example, one team will concentrate on the complex write model, while the other team will shift his focus for the read model. Last but not least, we'll use it when integrating it with event sourcing, since those two combined is advantageous for integrating with our system. So now, let's say you have a basic application, a basic CRUD application, so you can use the YAGNI. You ain't gonna need it. Please guys, don't use it if your let's say your application is simple, you don't have complex queries or complex data models or complex write operation. Please don't use it. It will just make it more complex. So we talked about event sourcing in the last slide, and I think some of you didn't know it and I didn't define it. So who are you?
Wait a minute! Who you.
Okay, so sorry, I will not define it in this video, but we will be making a separate video for that will be talking about event sourcing and also how to integrate it with CQRS. So stay tuned and subscribe to our channel.